From continuing my playthroughs of the arcade modes in the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, to the return of two of my favorite Call of Duties, to getting further in my 3+ year long playthrough of Tears of the Kingdom, July was definitely a fun month of gaming for me. Hi, King Pitch here, and welcome to my gaming adventures, a more casual, unscripted, I guess vlog type of video where I talk about the games I play each month. This is my second month of doing this, and I definitely was able to get in a lot of fun gaming again this month, so let's dive into my completions. This month I have 4 to 5 completions, although the fifth one is a kind of a technicality, so it depends on how you want to count it. My first completion in July was very early on July 2nd, with X-Men vs. Street Fighter. After starting my run-throughs of the arcade modes in the Marvel vs. Capcom collection last month, I was very eager to continue, and this was the one next up. I played yet again on the easiest difficulty, and this was definitely the fastest run-through of an arcade mode I've had so far, with it taking me 14 minutes and 58 seconds. I will say, since I switched the easiest difficulty, this is the first one that's actually made me question it, since I feel like I was breezing through it a little too easily. And I was barely taking any damage in any of the fights. Nonetheless though, just like the rest of the collection so far, this was a lot of fun. I feel this definitely seems to be the one where they really started to get the Marvel vs. Capcom identity here, versus feeling more like a Street Fighter type game, since it did introduce the whole tag team battle aspect. I picked Chun-Li and Wolverine for this playthrough, and it's definitely fun being able to switch between the two characters, and there's a lot of strategy there too with the healing up, or just feeling like you need a certain character against another one more so than the other, as they play differently. Also, this is the first one in this series to introduce a final boss that isn't just a normal character you can play as, where it's a very specific final boss enemy that you're fighting against. One thing I found cool with this one is at the end, after the final boss, you have to fight the other character you were tag team with the entire time. Not entirely sure how it determines which one you get, whether it's the one you beat the final boss with, or if it just happens to be the first one you selected. But I thought it was cool that it actually emphasizes the versus aspect of the game's title that doesn't really get explored again in the future titles. I also liked how it had a actual character specific ending. I wasn't sure if it was going to, because I know in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 they didn't, and with all the characters it did make sense. So I didn't know if they were starting to get into that territory here. But they did actually have a character ending, so I was pleasantly surprised. That said, it was only with the character you won the final battle with, not both. So I guess you would have to play through have each character win the final battle to get all the endings. So I guess the thought of trying to do it all is starting to get a little bit more daunting with the increasing roster size. But it's still something I'm definitely considering trying at some point, over time. But seeing I made it through once with the arcade mode, I'm happy to say, or at least count it as completed. And if I keep playing more, that's just bonus at this point. Next up, I have Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, which I completed on July 3rd in 16 minutes and 24 seconds with the arcade mode. I will say, with the ones previous so far, it did feel like there were decent steps between to make them feel different from each other. So this is the first one in the collection that really starts to feel the same as the previous entry, just with different roster of characters. I do find it interesting too how they were, at least at this point, alternating between X-Men and Marvel for their games they were making. But I guess at least at that point in time, the X-Men name maybe had more of a selling point than maybe Marvel on its own. But yeah, this one's pretty much the same as the previous entry and has the tag team battle, and just brings back more of the Marvel superheroes outside of the X-Men characters into it. The simulators even get into the arcade mode a bit with the fact that they include the final boss from the previous game in this. They just have a little bit more extra after him. And also, for whatever reason, I'm not sure if it was intentional or just my experience, but he seemed harder this time. That said though, I still super breezed through this on the easiest difficulty, and this one I was also contemplating of ooh, maybe in the future I'll bump it up maybe by one level, because this was too easy. For this playthrough, as you probably see with the gameplay, I picked Chun-Li and Spider-Man. I think with this and X-Men, I had a fun time like picking the character I played in the Marvel and X-Men specific ones and combining them with Chun-Li, seeing she's my favorite Street Fighter character. So I guess that was my logic of which characters I picked. Admittedly, even though I've picked Spider-Man many times in these collections, I'm honestly not sure if he's my favorite one to play. He just always seems to be like the weakest link of whoever I'm like teaming him up with. I just feel like I struggle to make him as good as I can the other characters. I do feel like in this one I was starting to get the hang of him a little bit better, but still I feel like I'm failing to reach his like full potential. Definitely had a lot of fun playing this one still though, even though it does feel more the same compared to the rest of the like newer entries. And I was also happy to see yet again they have a character specific ending, which I accidentally got Chun-Li's this time. I was intending to get Spider-Man, but I think I just accidentally killed the final boss with Chun-Li. And I was also expecting, I guess because the X-Men one had it, for there to be a fight between the two characters again at the end. But there wasn't. I know at this point too, I was starting to wonder if this would be like the last one to have a character specific ending. Because I know Marvel vs. Capcom 2 doesn't have that at all. But I guess I had to wait and see for Marvel vs. the Capcom 1 to have it. And just like the rest of like this collection, I'm happy to count this as completed after one playthrough, but I am hoping to get around back to it to get like all the characters' endings and play through it with them all. Next up, on July 4th, I completed my next game in the collection, which was Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, which I completed in 16 minutes and 44 seconds, since I yet again played on the easiest difficulty. This one I did already have a little bit of experience with before starting the arcade mode, since me and my fiance played it in multiplayer last month. One thing that like always shocks me with this one is how small the roster is. Like, I think I associate Marvel vs. Capcom with the second game's like giant roster, so seeing like the limited amount of characters in this always like throws me off. This one's definitely very similar to the other like versus entries, like just like how the previous two were with each other. But it does also feel like it's getting to the final point of how it was for Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but without the third character. After using a lot of repeat characters the previous games, I decided to change it up a little bit with this one and used Venom and Mega Man. Venom I picked up quick since I played him in the Marvel vs. Capcom 2 playthrough I did last month, but Mega Man I had to learn a bit as I was playing since I wasn't super familiar with his moveset. This playthrough, while definitely easy, I feel like it wasn't as much of a breeze as the previous two versus Street Fighter games I played, so I guess that was nice. And the final boss, like, almost beat me, so that was definitely a bit scary. I could tell at this point, though, they were definitely petering out with the character-specific endings, because while there still was a little something of, like, the two characters, like, interacting right at the end, it wasn't much. I did still have a really fun time with this one though, and I enjoyed seeing the evolution from X-Men to this game, which this was the final of like the fighting games in the collection I had left to beat, as I had already done Marvel vs. Capcom 2 first last month, so I didn't do that right after. But I guess it was cool seeing like where they ended up, and then going back to how they started, and seeing how it picked up the little aspects of its like DNA as it went through the years. While Marvel vs. Capcom was the last of the fighting games I had left to play in the collection, I still had one more game left, which was The Punisher, which I completed later in the month on July 18th. This one I yet again played on the easiest difficulty, and it took me 36 minutes and 35 seconds to make it through the game. Unlike the rest of the collection, this game is a beat-em-up type of game versus a fighting game, so it's definitely an oddball within the collection. I wouldn't say I'm super experienced with beat 'em up type games. Like, sometimes I'll play them at like an arcade and stuff, and usually they're pretty tough, so I wasn't sure like how tough this one would be, hence why I did the easiest difficulty possible. I did have fun with this though, and it was pretty unique, I feel, for a beat 'em up type game. Like, all the weapons you could use were actually like really fun, and honestly pretty brutal. And also like the like character of like the enemies, just they had a lot of character. And it was like interesting fighting them all. I know I was a bit confused for a good portion of the game, like I would just randomly pull out like a gun sometimes, and I was like, am I picking this up? But I think eventually I figured out that he just pulls out the gun if the enemies start like shooting guns at him. So I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Which I feel like the gun was definitely like the most overpowered weapon in the game. So once I figure that out, I would definitely try and like keep it as long as possible and like avoid shooting the enemies with the guns. I feel like the animation and sprite work was really good in this too, which honestly I think it was better than I was expecting because this is technically the oldest game within this collection, so I was pleasantly surprised. I only died twice playing through this, both times on the last level, so it wasn't too hard, but then again, as I mentioned, I did play on the easiest difficulty, so I imagine like the default difficulty is probably a bit harder to try and like get you to use your quarters back in the day. And I think like with most beat 'em up games I play, I wish there was like more variety in the moves you could use. Like I guess this game does get a lot of variety from the weapons, but I feel like they could definitely take like notes from like the fighting games more and give you more options for your moveset. But I guess now that I'm speaking, I'm like, oh, well, I guess there is like a fun to the simplicity of it, and it like allows you to focus more on like how you approach the enemies and like having to like pay attention to what they're doing. Oh, and the time limit for each level definitely had me a bit stressed once I like realized it was there. But I think there was only maybe ever like one moment in the game where I got like was cutting it a little bit close to the time. Other than that, it was just kind of like, oh, well, I guess I should probably not take my time then. But yes, this was a fun game, and I can definitely see myself playing it like maybe 2 more times. Once is playing as Nick Fury, and another just like playing it through like multiplayer with Sarah. But other than that, it's not one I'm like super eager to like jump back into for further playthroughs after those. But with that, that's every game in the collection completed, at least in the most bare minimum way. I'm definitely glad I picked this up, and I definitely intend to keep playing it more. And I guess a little teaser for further in the video, I am going to be talking maybe a little bit more about this collection during the ongoing games portion, as I may have returned to one of the arcade modes to play more characters. Now that I have the collection out of the way, my completions are probably going to go down to their usual average of like 1 or 2 per month, as their short times definitely like contributed to me being able to beat a lot of them very fast. And this is also the end of the completed portion. I admittedly thought I was going to get at least 1 more completion in this month, but I'll talk about that more soon. Before we get into my ongoing playing games, there was one game I retired and gave up on, or I guess an expansion more so than a game, which was the Tomb Raider Unfinished Business expansion. Last month, I finished the main game, and I thought it'd be a good idea to try out the expansion this month while the controls were still like fresh in my head. Admittedly though, I was like nervous to try this from what I'd read online, and my fears were confirmed as it was incredibly annoying. It immediately amps up the difficulty from the main game to like 11 by just spamming you with like the most annoying enemy possible, and immediately had a bunch of hard like platforming sections where you easily can fall to your death at like anything. And even if you did get past it, all of a sudden like an enemy will just ambush you, and it was just annoying. And within like 20 minutes, I was like, okay, yeah, I think I don't want to continue this. I think I would have maybe liked it more if I still had like my ammo from the main game and like all my healing stuff. But the fact it starts you fresh with like nothing definitely is rough. Because by the end of the game, I at least had all of the stuff I had gotten that where it made the enemies not too bad because I could heal up pretty quickly or just use my good weapons against them. Admittedly, after, I was already starting to contemplate like, oh, maybe I should give it a couple more tries, chip away at it, not let it frustrate me if it gets too hard, just chip at it. But then I kind of got like distracted with the other games I started playing this month, and it kind of just, I think I'm happy just to say it's retired. And also, I guess, if I am wanting to play like more Tomb Raider, which I do definitely at some point, I probably should just move on to the second game, which won't annoy me as much. I hope. I imagine it probably would not be as annoying as that difficulty spike of an expansion. But now to my ongoing games I've played this month. I think I'm going to start off with X-Men Children of the Atom first to like finish up the Marvel vs. Capcom collection talk. After finishing up each game in the collection, I decided to go all the way back to the first one with X-Men to start like doing it with each character in the game. So far, I did Cyclops, Silver Samurai, Storm, and Iceman for their arcade modes. I very quickly realized that I think I picked probably one of the most fun characters to play the first time around with Wolverine, because at least with like Cyclops and Silver Samurai, I feel like I was struggling a bit more and they weren't as fun for me. Storm was definitely a lot more fun though, and her and Wolverine are probably my two favorites so far that I've played here. Iceman was decent though. He's probably number 3 in my favorites so far. Even though I'm like early on in like playing these, I am already like contemplating going for the Platinum Trophy. But I feel like 2 of the trophies for this game in particular do seem a little scary. With the 50 combo one and the unlocking Akuma one. But I feel like it's hopefully doable from what I've read online. I am enjoying playing this here and there though, and it's definitely like a perfect game to like play in a very short burst where I have like 20 to 30 minutes to just quickly play something casually. Also, it's kind of crazy that the difficulty for this is like so high that even on like the lowest possible difficulty, I'm still struggling a bit with Juggernaut and Magneto. Like, they definitely get very spammy or just like have like silly things that just are hard to go against. I know in one of my like run-throughs, I actually like almost lost on the lowest difficulty to Magneto, and like literally won with like a like sudden death draw thing. I'm definitely looking forward though to continuing all of these and working my way through with each of the characters in the collection and really figuring out and learning each of them. Next up, I also played more of the Call of Duty World at War campaign this month. Admittedly, because Call of Duty campaigns aren't super long, this one was one I thought I'd definitely get finished this month. But I only actually got around to playing it one time, so yeah, that didn't happen. This is definitely still a lot of fun though, and definitely reminds me of like why I like the Call of Duty campaigns, at least back in the day, felt like a lot of fun. But definitely got hit with like the difficulty a bit at times. I know I died a lot in a tank level, in this one underground portion where the subway lights kept going on and off. And then also died like a few times at this one particular spot in the plane level. My aim is also still not great in this game, although now that I've been doing the Black Ops re-releases, which you'll be hearing about in the multiplayer portion, I do feel it has to do with something particular with this game, whether the aim assist is different with the controller or if it just happens just to be the PS3 controller being different for me, because I've gotten used to the PS4 and 5 ones over the years. I just don't think it's me anymore. But I'm still having fun, and I'm hoping to get this tidy up in August, since I am pretty close to the end, I feel. My main big single-player game I played this month was more of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I do want to talk about some of the specific things I did in the game. So, if you don't want to hear too much, because I am pretty deep in the game, like about 88 hours, if you don't want to just hear too much about the game, I would advise skipping to the next games I talk about. Last month, I had started the Gerudo storyline, but I hadn't finished it yet, so this month I began off with the defense of Gerudo Town. I thought it was really cool how you could plan out the defense, like you could position like the warriors and like barriers and like equipment in different spots. I thought that was like a really cool thing for the game to do. I'm not sure if it made a difference at all, or at least nothing that I really like saw, because it still got really chaotic during the defense, and I was having to run back and forth a bunch, and definitely was like, I don't know, running through the town wasn't like the best experience, because it'd be like, oh, they're getting attacked on this side, and then I'd spend like a minute and a half running to the other side, and then having to run back and forth, but it was still fun. In retrospect, maybe there could have been something I could have done, like made a vehicle or something that would have made it smoother to get around, but I don't know. I then went on to do the dungeon, which I had accidentally already like unlocked a good portion of it beforehand, just like randomly exploring and messing with things. So that was kind of funny. I thought the concept of a pyramid dungeon was pretty fun, and I thought it utilized the like ascension skill pretty well. I'm not sure how I'd rank it among the other dungeons I've played so far in this game. Admittedly, I guess when it comes to my memory, it's a little fuzzy because I have been playing this game for like over 3 years. But I would say the quality and fun of this was about equal, which is fun. I like how it also had like elements of like the Spirit Temple from Ocarina of Time a bit too, with the light puzzles. The boss of the dungeon was a cool one too, and definitely got intense in some moments, and definitely felt like really fresh and unique for the series. I'm not sure though if it tops the Colgera fight yet though. That might still be my favorite boss fight from the game so far. After the dungeon, I definitely spent a lot of time in the game exploring the desert, finding some new shrines, and also going more to like the underground and like lighting up more areas of it. Oh, and I also got one more memory in the game this month, and also I think one of the towers, so I think I only have like a couple left until I uncover the whole map, on the surface at least. There was one more notable story segment I did this month, which was getting the Master Sword. I did the Korok Forest some time ago. I don't know if it was earlier this year or maybe last year, but I had the like little tracker that I could find it for a while, but I think I was just either didn't know how to get to it or just didn't feel I was ready to get the sword yet. But I had, I guess, correctly guessed that it was involved with one of the dragons, as I noticed it was like moving around on the map, and I'm like, yeah, that must be a dragon. But it definitely was cool that like you had to pull the sword from the dragon. Definitely probably one of the most unique ways you receive the Master Sword in the games, as usually it's pretty simple, like sword in the stone type deal. And I also thought it was cool that like this game made you use your stamina to get the sword, while the previous Breath of the Wild made you use like your health. I'm definitely glad to finally have the Master Sword in this game. It's nice to have that like nice reusable familiar weapon. And I do like how you can continue to use like the merging with it, so you can like constantly just customize it to be whatever you want it to be. I know last month I was saying that I really want to try and get this game done before Fire Emblem comes out mid-September, but I think this month I've kind of just started to come to terms that, yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, and I'm okay with that. I think the thing is, I want to make sure that I don't like set the game down for like half a year like I tend to do sometimes. I want to like make sure I'm like continuing to play it here and there, even if it's not like my main game in the moment. I am like really enjoying going at this at like a gradual pace, and I really don't want to rush it because like I love this game. It's a lot of fun. Maybe I'll still be able to beat it by the end of the year if I do keep up with like a gradual pace and kind of like go back and forth with it. But if I don't, then that's okay. I think I'll definitely get it done by next year though if I keep it up. I'm not sure what my next objective is in game. I know there's a few different avenues, like I could go to the Zoras and do that dungeon. That might be the last one I think I have left, unless there's like another one that I don't know about. Or I might go continue to get more memories. There's a lot of different avenues I can go in-game. But hey, that's the appeal of this game. You can really just do, like, you really don't know what to expect. And you kind of just go with the flow of the game and explore and find all sorts of adventures. That's it for all of my single-player ongoing games I played this month. And now we move on to the 2 multiplayer games I played this month, which was where I probably spent most of my gaming time on this month, which were the re-releases of Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 on PlayStation. It's kind of funny. Earlier this year, I already was kind of like getting nostalgic for like old school Call of Duty, and like wishing I could go back and play the ones I really enjoyed back in the day. But like it's kind of hard because I know the PS3 ones are like hacked to oblivion at this point. So it was kind of just like a nostalgic thought there. So when I started seeing the rumors of these games getting ported over to PS4 and 5, I was definitely like really excited and like hoping it was true. Modern Warfare 2 through Black Ops 2 was probably my like peak of my Call of Duty era, because I know around Ghosts is where I started falling off from it. Black Ops was the first one that I played online, And I know Black Ops 2 is like, especially in my friend group, like the era where we like all really played it like a lot. And I just have a lot of like very fond memories of that game. So even though I definitely felt they were a bit overpriced for games as old as they are, I did immediately cave and get them because I really wanted to get like re-experience these games. I would say like back in like my Call of Duty days, like my main era, I would always say Black Ops 1 was probably my favorite one. I think I always liked how the multiplayer like felt, and probably because I played it mostly after its like peak era. I always felt I was better at the game, probably because like most of like the really good people were usually playing whatever the current one was. So I generally felt like I was at my best while playing this one, which I think like motivated my saying that it was my favorite one at the time. I know in retrospect, after I was out of my Call of Duty era though, I sort of like realized Black Ops 2 was probably my favorite one overall. Even though like I was not as good at that one as I was like say Black Ops 1, it was definitely like my like main one I spent most of my time with. And I remember really liking like the progression system and like the introduction of diamond camos. It just felt like a perfect culmination of like improvements before it started going downhill, in my opinion. I was definitely curious though, like how like revisiting them would like compare to my memories, and also was curious to see like how much my skills have like gone downhill, because I definitely feel like I was better at shooters back in the day when it was like my main thing. I won't profess to be like actually like I was ever really good at this. Like I think my KD always hovered around 1.0, sometimes a little above, sometimes a little below. But yeah, so the first one I started off trying out when they re-released was Black Ops 1, because it was the first one. And I knew once I like dove into Black Ops 2, I probably wouldn't touch 1 as much, which, foreshadowing, is exactly what happened. But back to 1, the game is definitely like a lot faster paced than I remember. Like the time to kill was very fast in comparison to my memory. And I was immediately like, oh, I suck now. I was not this bad back in the day. I do think after the first few matches, I definitely started like getting back into the groove of it, but I'm still definitely like well below the skill level I used to be. A lot of my friends also got these games, so like I very quickly started playing with them, and it was just a lot of fun and like nostalgic for all of us, and we're like, it's so back, and like we're even laughing at like some of the, like the silliest things, like the host migrations, and just yeah, it's fun. One thing we quickly noticed is that they really messed up, and like even though we were in the same party, we were never ending up fully on the same team. Like we'd always be split between like the teams, so ouch there. We even brought back like one of our like old school like private match things we would do. It was called dodgeball. I don't know if that was ever widespread or just something within my group, but it was fun like revisiting that. I know I was getting nostalgic over like some of the weapons, like don't be mad at me. I used the noob tube a bit because I feel like this was the last one it was like actually like pretty good in. So I'm like, I have to re-experience the like explosive fun of it. I know once I unlocked the FAMAS 2, I was like excited about that, and like very quickly remembered why I loved that gun. It definitely felt very OP back in the day. And I could definitely feel myself like physically improving once I like started using it again. It was also interesting seeing in like retrospective like the whole COD point system this game had with like the money you earn from matches. It's definitely a very unique progression system where you basically just buy everything. I know I died laughing too of how you had to buy like layers for the like emblem customization too. That just was kind of ridiculous there. Between both these games, I haven't really touched zombies much. I literally only played it like once with my fiance Sarah because I wanted to show her it, and like it was fun, and I definitely want to play more. But I know like me and my friends were always a bit more of like a multiplayer crew. But like I definitely want to try and play more zombies for sure. I would occasionally return back to Black Ops 1 after I like moved on to 2. But for the most part, most of my time this month, like with the Call of Duties, was with Black Ops 2. Black Ops 2 is definitely the like Call of Duty I have the most nostalgia for. I think it was like a perfection of still being my Call of Duty era, but then also being like the best one. It was like at that perfect point in time before things started going a little bit downhill for me with it, and still had like really cool like innovations. I know I really enjoyed the addition of like the diamond camo. It added like something extra to work for, in addition to like the fun of just normally playing anyways. Obviously, with like most old things, you do wonder how much nostalgia played in. So I was definitely like curious to see if it would still live up to my memories of it, or maybe I'm just not into first-person shooters as much as I was back then, which is why I don't enjoy them as much as I did back then. But I was definitely glad to see that I am definitely having a blast with this again. Even though I'm worse than I used to be, I know my KD was about 1.0 for Black Ops 2, but now it's more like a point 0.8. Yeah, I'm not very good. I still have my moments though where I'm like, I think I'm okay at least. If anything, I know this is a classic excuse, but I want to say lag is generally my biggest enemy. I know there was one point I was having major lag problems. I need to figure out some setup where I can like more better hook up an Ethernet cable, I think, because right now I'm usually just doing the raw Wi-Fi. Maybe I'll be more successful with that. But skill issues aside, I'm definitely really enjoying like revisiting the weapons from the past. Even though it got nerfed, the PDW is just like a nostalgic weapon for me. One thing I loved to do back in the day was run around with pistols in this game, because all the pistols, well, minus the Executioner, were like actually good. I do love the Executioner though. It just kind of sucks. But it's been fun like recreating like my old classes. Honestly, one thing I think I enjoy more than I did in the past is sniping. I think I really started to like enjoy sniping back when I played Cold War, and that's retroactively come back into Black Ops 2. I think I'm a little bit better at it than I used to be, or at least better at the quick scoping aspect, even though I will not say I'm a good quick scoper. I guess this is a thought for both Black Ops 1 and 2. I'm realizing my memory of the maps is not great for the most part, other than like the ones that would like regularly come back, like Nuketown, Firing Range, Slums. But for the most part, I'm kind of like, I remember this map, but I don't remember this map. Like, I don't remember all the little like areas. Even though I do like suck at the game, I feel like this one I definitely like felt better going into. The like time to kill speed felt just right, which I think this is like the perfect time to kill speed, I think, for me in Call of Duty. When it gets a little higher than this is when I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that one. It's definitely been a blast playing with my friends though too, and it's been fun like revisiting Capture the Flag, which was like our like team game mode that we used to be pretty good at. We usually have like a good system of like offense and defense, and we like to see like how many wins we could get in a row. This is one I'm definitely like excited to continue like diving into and playing with it revived. I'm hoping like the revival of this lasts for like a while with like the player count, because I definitely have like goals in the game. Like I want to get diamond pistols again. That was like a prime gaming achievement for me back in the day. And honestly would love to get other diamond weapons too and like get up there in the prestiges. Admittedly, I probably won't play this like as much as I would have like back in the day. It's like difficult because I also play a larger variety of games than I did back in my Call of Duty era. So I definitely probably wouldn't make the progress speed I did back in the day. So I am hoping this game like survives for a while before like turning to dust. Admittedly, the hacker situation has me worried. I know I was like a little scared to touch the game at the end of the month, and I guess like into the next month early on, because of like, I don't want my like account messed up like that. I'd rather like work my way upwards and not either get like max prestige from the get-go and messing up like any progress I could have like earned myself, or just straight up not being able to play anymore. So I hope that gets fixed, because that is concerning. I guess if the game does die off like too soon though, then that's definitely will be sad. But at the same time, I guess at least there's always zombies with my friends we can go back to and play. I definitely really have been enjoying like this blast from the past, revisiting like this old multiplayer that I really couldn't anymore. And I'm hoping like it'll continue for a while because this is like peak Call of Duty for me, and it's just like a perfect multiplayer for me to play here and there when I can and just hop into when I want. I think that's all I have to say about Black Ops 2 for now and Black Ops 1. I definitely feel with the Black Ops 2 is going to probably stick to being my main one, but I'll probably like hop into Black Ops 1 again for, well, obviously zombies, but the multiplayer too for like, it is a nice like palate cleanser from 2. I know I always liked to hop back to 1 back in the day when I was getting like tired of whatever the current Call of Duty I was playing, at least until my account got hacked. That wasn't fun. But also, I definitely want to at least get to like first or second prestige in the game, so I have like more class options. I really doubt I'll get to whatever the max prestige is, although gold weapons would be nice. I've been thinking that I might want to make like a full scripted video on both these games, like the revival of both of these games, and also like my memories of them, so I can more clearly like explain my thoughts on them. But I think I do need a little bit more time to like talk about or like play them more, so I can, one, get my thoughts more in order, and two, spend more time with them. So maybe I'll aim to do that once I hit like first prestige in both games and play a little bit more zombies and also play through the campaigns, so I can more like really deep dive into it. But yeah, I really hope to like continue diving into these that like for months and even like years on. I just really enjoy Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2. And I love that I can like revisit them now properly. But yeah, that's everything I played this month. I feel like I developed like a good combo of games to jump between this month, with Tears of the Kingdom being like my main like big single player game that I'm like making progress on in my backlog. The X-Men game is like a perfect like if I'm like have a little bit of time between like things, can play like a very quick like game of that. And then Call of Duty is like a good like casual hop into, like if I want to play a long burst, short burst, want to play with friends, want to do some multiplayer, something competitive, and when I'm not in like the mood for like a necessarily like a big single player game in the moment. I think like these like 4 games are like a perfect balance of like getting my different gaming moods. Maybe the one gap is like story, because like Tears of the Kingdom has a story, but like it's mostly about the adventure aspect. But yeah, these will probably be the games I stick with for the most part, like into next month and probably into September. I'll probably throw in like a short game here or there to like get myself some backlog completions in there. I know I have been feeling the itch to play like Metal Gear Solid Delta though, and also like continue my second playthrough of Three Houses that I have like not beaten. But I guess you'll find out next month if I do hop into those or if I just kind of stick to my core 3 that I was just talking about. But that's it for today. Hope to see you all more next month.